on the 6th day, everything just went haywire. My system shut down completely. They didn't know what was wrong with me. And when they found out, they decided that I had multiple sclerosis.
Okay.
And I had one of the worst forms of it.
Okay. Describe some of the forms that when your body shut down.
Yes, some people just have weakness or difficulty seeing or difficulty speaking. My entire system shut down. Both of my lungs collapsed. I had 7 blood clots from my lungs, which shut my system down. I had to be hooked up to a respirator, was in intensive care for weeks. Then I lost my memory.
Lost your memory?
Yes. And by the time I got home with my son to stay, he was 8 months old.
Wow.
So I was in and out of the hospital for those 8 months.
Okay. So after that, then what else? What else happened? You shared with me in our pre-interview that not only you lost your memory, you lost your sight.
Absolutely. I got a little bit better and got a chance to go home. At the time, my husband was pastoring in Kentucky.
Okay.
I was standing in front of the church talking to one of the youth of our church.
Yes, ma'am.
And I went blind suddenly, completely blind. Everything just turned black. I was standing there talking to him. As a matter of fact, his name was Richie, and I said, Richie, I need you to stay calm, and I need you to walk me across the street to the house because I can't see anything. He walked me home, went in the house, and when I realized I really was blind, really went through a little problem there because I didn't understand what was going on.
Yes, ma'am.
Right after that, the whole system shut down, started again, and I ended up back in the hospital. At one point, I was paralyzed from the neck down. And I laid there for a long time, and then they put me in a step-down unit because I wasn't getting any better.
Yes,
I'm happy to report that my family tells me that during the time when my system shut down, I was still trusting God and still expecting Him to do something.
Amen.
But I don't remember any of that.
Yes, yes.
So I got a little bit better and a little bit worse, and this went on from 1975 to 1983.
1975
to 1983.
And you having these situations.
Oh, yes.
These problems.
Oh, yes.
And you don't remember any of them.
I remember little snatches, but most of the time there was no memory. I believe that perhaps God did not want me to even remember all of the pain and the suffering. I remember there was one time when the pain was so bad that they had to do a procedure where they put little electrodes in my spine to help control the pain. And it didn't work very well, so they put me on a Valium drip and a morphine drip, and when I got ready to get the Valium, they decided to give me a direct shot, and it would not go in my vein. My arm swelled up, but it would not go in the vein. They couldn't understand why that was, because the needle was in the vein, but it was as though God said, no, we're not going to go that route.
Okay, so at this time, who you have helping you out during your time when you were struggling besides your husband?
Oh, my parents, my family came, everybody came.
So they understood your situation,
Yes,
what
they
you was
did.
going.
Yes, they did.
Now, to my understanding, you said your husband was a pastor.
Yes, he was pastoring in Kentucky and Virginia. It started when I was in Virginia. Then he was called to a church in Kentucky. It continued. It got very, very bad when I was in Kentucky.
Okay.
And then I went to the back to the hospital, and it was as bad as it had ever gotten because my vision was just about gone. I did not have any speech. My memory was gone. My body had shut down. And in November of 1982, I had been sick since 1975. So in 1982, my husband went to the doctors in November and said, I need to take my wife home for the holidays. And they did not recommend it because I was hooked up to a lot of things and taking a lot of medication. And he told them, well, I need to take her home. My dad's church, my father was pastoring in Maryland.
Yeah.
And my dad's church, my husband's church, the friends of ours, just God's people began to fast and pray.
Yes.
I went home, had to take the hospital bed with me, all the medications. My mother came and stayed with us. And it got really very bad. I was not very responsive. We went through Thanksgiving, we went through Christmas. This is what they told me because I don't remember.
Right.
But we went through those holidays. And then in January, the hospital called my husband back and said, she's not doing well, you're going to need to bring her back. So on January 22nd of 1983,
Yes.
he picked me up because I was not walking at the time, put me in the car. We rode about 35 miles to the University of Kentucky Hospital. He drove in front of the hospital as he had done for years. I got out of the car and I've been walking ever since.
Wait a minute. Hold on, wait. I'm trying not to smile because we already had this conversation. I'm trying not to give it away. But you tell me you were doing bad.
Oh, yes.
And the hospital said you have to come back to the hospital.
Yes.
And at this particular time, you don't remember anything. You don't know if your husband was praying for you.
Oh, I know he was doing that.
Well, during the ride, you know.
No, we were just going back to the hospital. We had done this many, many times.
Yes.
And we were glad that I got to go home for the holidays.
Okay.
But he put me in the car just to take me back. And I must have gone to sleep because I don't remember that. And there were no lightning bolts. I didn't hear any voice, nothing like
That's
that.
what I did, okay.
None of that. And when we got to the hospital, it's circular driveway like they have in most hospitals. And he would usually take me in front of the door, and the nurse, Vicki Long was her wonderful name. She was my nurse because I was going to the neurology clinic every time. And she would come and get me. Well, this time he got in front of the door and I got out of the car. I'm not even realizing what had happened.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't been walking.
Okay.
I got out of the car. Neither one of us got it right then. And he said, I'm going to park, and I said, okay. Well, we hadn't even been doing that. I waited. He parked the car. We came in the hospital, got on the elevator.
You walked?
Went up to the 5th floor.